The next question says, Malcolm wants to improve the topic sentence he has written at the end of the second paragraph. And it tells you what the second paragraph is. Sentences 4 through 7. Which of the following could best replace sentence 7? So if you underline keywords in your question to help you better understand it, give yourself a tally mark. Then, it's just like we talked about in number 13, replace is a special word. It's sort of a double-coded word. That means the same thing as add, but in order to replace an item in a story, you're going to have to take out what they have and add in another word. So I want you to draw attention to the word replace. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. And anytime we see the word add or replace, then we put a star. All that means is in our story where we're going to replace it, we took this sentence out and we're going to add another one. So we put a star where we're going to add the other sentence. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Anytime we use a star, we use the strategy sandwich, keyword, plug in. Sandwich simply means you're going to underline two sentences around the word or phrase or sentence that you're adding to your paper because that gives you a good snapshot of what you're talking about. You're going to go through and read those two sentences so you have a good idea. You look for keywords so you know the topic that they're talking about. And then you go back and you plug in all of your answer choices. That's what we mean by sandwich, keyword, plug in. So we're going to get started right away. We blooped out sentence 7 and we added a star. So in theory, we're going to underline the sentence before the star, which we already blooped this one out, so it doesn't belong. So we're going to underline sentence 6. And then we underline the sentence after the star. Only there's not really a sentence after the star because we're starting a new paragraph. And most of the time when you start a new paragraph, you're shifting topics. So it doesn't really necessarily go with this unless this sentence leads into this. So what I like to do is if you can't underline the sentence after it, I go back and I underline the two sentences before what I'm going to add. That's what sandwiching is, except in this case, if this were the bologna, I have to add the two pieces of bread before. In this South American country, a van isn't used to bring books to people. 2 donkeys are used instead. So now I'm going to plug in my answer choices. In this South American country, a van isn't used to bring books to people. 2 donkeys are used instead. A biblioburro is that. Well, our sentence said, the biblioburro is what it is. This says the biblioburro is that. It's very similar to the sentence that's in there. And remember, we're looking for a sentence that improves the topic sentence. I don't know that biblioburro is that is any better than biblioburro is what that is. So I can eliminate that several different ways. I can eliminate it by saying it's off topic. I can also say it does not improve the sentence. Does not improve. We're looking for a sentence that's going to improve the topic sentence. That's almost the same. It's almost a repeat of exactly what it was. G says, in this South American country, a van isn't used to bring books to people. 2 donkeys are used instead. This unique bookmobile is called a biblioburro. That makes sense. It's not a van, so that's not what kind of mobile it is. It uses 2 donkeys, so it's still a bookmobile, but it's a unique bookmobile, and it's called a biblioburro. In my opinion, I think that's a very good choice. So you could put a dot for possibility or a maybe baby on G. Now remember, we don't just pick the answer that we very first think it is. You can have a maybe baby or a dot for possibility on more than one answer. Most of the time there's going to be 2 answers that you can automatically eliminate, but this just helps us narrow down our options. If you put a dot for possibility on G, give yourself a tally mark. In this South American country, a van isn't used to bring books to people. 2 donkeys are used instead. The donkeys are in the biblioburro.
Does it ever say anything about the donkeys being in the biblioburro?
It says here that a van isn't used, 2 donkeys are used instead. You wouldn't say a van is inside the bookmobile. The van is what is the bookmobile. Doesn't mean that the 2 donkeys, 2 donkeys are used. Surely they're pulling a wagon. In this case, I think they have a saddle that has some satchels on it. So this simply is not true. So we can't add this sentence because it's not true. The donkeys are not in the biblioburro. So you can eliminate that answer. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Jay says, it is a biblioburro bookmobile with donkeys and books too. In this South American country, a van isn't used to bring books to people. 2 donkeys are used instead. It's a biblioburro bookmobile with donkeys and books too. Again, we want to improve the topic sentence. And in order to improve the topic sentence, we're going to explain more about the bookmobile. The unique bookmobile is called a biblioburro. It is a biblioburro bookmobile with donkeys and books too. We know that it has donkeys. We already know that it has books. So in this case, this one is off topic. Or again, you could put like you did up here. Maybe not, does not improve the meaning. So the sentence can definitely be used. I just don't, this sentence can definitely be used. This one does not help the topic. If you eliminated that, give yourself a tally mark. My only correct answer on that is G. If you picked G as your correct answer and you fixed it that way in your story, give yourself a tally mark.